Hey, hi guys, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we'll be starting off with the first type of data structures, which is called as list. So let's start. Suppose if I want to, contain more than one element, right? Typically, then we have to use data structures or containers, which can store more than one element. So suppose if I want to store one element, I can simply do x equal to 2. But if I want to store more elements, I have to put it in a bracket or in a container, which can contain more than one elements. So if I see the type of X, that is called as list. Okay. Or I can also initiate a list like this. I can call the function and then put a bracket and then write whatever I want to, whatever elements it can store. So if I do type of X again, it's a list. Or you can directly start off with this square bracket. The square bracket itself means it's a list. Even if it contains one element, right? It's still a list. So we can have a more complex version of a list. We can have a list of list as well. So if I have, say, a list of list, something like this. So if I do the type of, say, if I store this in A, okay, and if I put type of A, it will be a list. Okay. Now, can a list contain more than one type of data? So all we just saw was numbers, right? So let's say we have 1, 2, 2, 4, say 4.5, anything like a string, a boolean as well. Okay, let's see if we can store this. We can definitely store more than one type of data in a string. Can we store nested? So this is called a nested list, when you have a list inside a list. And this has a much higher purpose, guys. Why are we reading nested lists? Is something which we'll get to understand probably 2-3 videos where the application comes there. We can convert these this list of list to a matrix, to a two-dimensional array, and we'll get to that. Okay, but if I want to say store here now true, false, whatever string which I want to do. So false, okay, of course we have to put caps lock. Okay, title case, right? So it can store any type of element within a list. You can store multiple types of data within a single list. So like we saw in strings, that we could slice out information from strings. So here also in lists, we can slice out information from lists. Suppose, let's say I have a list of such elements, multiple types of different elements, doesn't matter. If I want to extract the first element out of it, the first element, what do I have to write? In string, if I had to extract the first letter, what did we do? We used the 0 index, right? So here also we'll do the same thing. So A of 0 will give me 1, which is the first element. So in lists, we have commas which indicate the start of a new element. Whatever element I have, A, B, C. So these commas basically separate the elements out. We can count the number of elements in the list as well. So we have, suppose A, B, C is there, we have 3 elements. And we can count the elements using a function which is called as len. Len means length. So length of this particular list is 7, because we have 7 elements here. 6 commas and 7 elements. In strings also, you can extract the length of the string. It will count how many number of alphabets or how many number of basically characters are there inside the string. So here we'll have 7 because it will count the space as well. So now let's take an even more complex list, say nested list, something like this. Okay. Now if I do B of 0, what will I get? So now the focus is on the first element, right? Please understand that here we have 2 lists. But the outer list is the first list, the parent list, the outer list, which is this one and this one. So according to the outer list, my first element is not 234. It is the entire element which is present inside the list again, right? So the list itself is the first element for the parent list. The second element is this, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it is, right? So if I do now b of 0, I'll get the first element, which is itself is a list. Now can I go inside this sub list? Of course I can. If I do b of 0 of 1, it will give me 345. Now it is going inside that list to extract the element in the sub list or in the nested list. So now if I do b of say -1, it will give me the last element, which is itself is a list, right? Now if I do b of the last element of 1, the second element inside the last element, which is this one. Now if I want to extract w, the first element here inside the string, again I can put. So one more thing which I want to tell you, that we can also convert strings to uppercases and lower cases, which I forgot to cover probably in the previous video. So we can do dot upper, I think not to upper, but dot upper will give you the uppercase. Okay, and if I have something in caps lock, and if I do dot lower, it will convert everything to lower. And if I have something, if I want to convert it to title case, it will just make the first letter capital and then everything else is small. So lists can be created in an automated fashion also. Suppose if I want to create a list of the first 5 natural numbers, create a list of first 5 natural numbers. So I can use a function which is called as range, and range basically takes in 2 inputs, the starting number and the ending number. Okay, the starting number, let's say natural numbers start from 1 and first 5. So if I put 5 here, it will not go till 5, it will go till 4, just like we had in while slicing indexes, right? The starting index will be taken, but the ending index, which you specify within that range, within that bracket, will not be taken because it specifies the ending index, so it will give you 1 less than that. So if I want to put it 5, I have to put 6 here. And if I do this, I only get an object which specifies, which tells me that it's a range from 1 to 6. But how do I extract the elements out? So I can use a list function on top of the range to get a list of the elements from 1 to 5. One more property of lists is that these are mutable. Mutable means we can change the elements inside the list. So if I have a list, say d is equal to 20, 45, 57, 65. Now, if I want to change the last number 65 to 66, I can simply do d of -1, which is 65, and I can force it to be equal to 66. Now, once I do this, now if I again print out d, I'll get 66 instead of 65. This is called as mutability. I can also change the last element to a different data type, say a string. Now, if I do d again, it has changed 66 to this particular string. Another property of lists is that lists are iterable. So whenever we use loops, while loop or a for loop, we can easily use it over lists to access the individual elements inside my list. So we saw that elements inside a list can be changed, and hence lists are mutable, and such properties come very handy when you want to update a particular information in a particular container. So guys, that is all for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.